1010 XL 92.5 FM.
Welcome in the new drug today is the band is back together.
That's right.
That's today's drug. You got a band back together. A little hoarse, by the way. I felt my voice going about the middle of the third quarter.
Really?
Yeah, and I think I hung in there okay.
Yeah.
JJ, you didn't have to kill any of those sound bites because the voice went, did you?
I didn't recognize it. No, you sounded good on the broadcast.
I appreciate it. And I really kind of held it together, but kind of funny yesterday. Suzanne and I were flying back, and when I about once every 3 or 4 years, my voice will just go. It only lasts for a day or two. But yesterday I couldn't talk at all. So we're at the airport. People, hey Frank, man, hey, I love the show. What'd you think of the game? And I'm trying to talk.
Yeah.
And air is coming out.
Oh wow.
It was one of the air come out days. But usually I sleep and drink a bunch of tea, and then the next day I'm fine. So
You
rally. So I feel a little bit better today. But good trip. Good to have us all back together. It was good hanging out with you and Gene. That was kind of fun.
We had a great time.
We went and hung out at the Ted Lasso.
That was so much fun.
We went to Richmond. Was that the best ever?
It was unbelievable, and it really was like being in the TV show.
Yeah.
I mean, it was incredible. I mean, it's the bar is sort of the anchor of it.
Yeah.
So we had lunch there and some drinks, and that was a lot of fun. But to see his flat where the character
Wasn't
lives.
that cool?
And the park, and obviously they have a Ted Lasso store, which was really cool. So it got me definitely fired up for season 4.
Yeah, I mean, JJ, you're a Ted Lasso watcher, right?
No, I've never seen it.
You did not watch it.
Oh,
Okay.
dude, put that at the top.
Yeah,
of your
yeah.
list.
But for people that do watch
and it's a great show to watch.
It
You
really
went to
is.
like the cheers of.
Yeah, that's right. It in its own way, the cheers of European soccer. That's right. So, but we the Premier League cheers. But so Suzanne and I and Hays and Gene kind of hung out, and then we met some other friends there later on, and all who also watched Ted Lasso.
Oh, it was a lot of fun.
And so it was a really good get together when we were there. So it was a great trip.
A great vibe. Like the bar was. They liked the fact that people are there to visit because they like the TV show. There was no sense of like, oh my gosh,
I've
tourists.
Right.
Yeah, I've been to what's it called? Is it the Bull and Finch? It's the real Cheers. I think it's the Bull and Finch.
Yes.
Rick would know. And I've been there a bunch. But they were the real Cheers for so long that it kind of got old for them.
Mm-hmm.
They just they almost got fatigued of it at one point. Whereas this bar liked it. They would talk about how that the actors when they're in filming season are always in there, which is really, I mean, even when they're not working.
Yeah.
So which is really cool. So it was a good trip. We were there for 10 days, and Jags went 1-1, disappointing first game against the Bears. Played well against the Patriots in the second game, and so it was a good trip across the pond. I'll tell you this. Lots of Jaguar fans, boy.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, not just lots of Jaguar fans at the Wembley game because that's the home game, and there's a lot of British Jaguar fans. But the amount of people that made the trip, the amount of people you saw on the planes, in the airports, in London, wasn't it amazing how many Jacksonville people that we saw while in London for one or both of these games?
It was incredible. I had not been since 2016, so it had been 8 years for me, and I thought the Jaguar presence was far greater than the last time I'd been there. And to that point, so we connected through Atlanta yesterday coming home, and I can't imagine that they often do this, but Delta had a flight. We were on like we ended up leaving Atlanta at like 10:20 at night. There was a flight from Atlanta to Jacksonville at 11:07. So they had 2 flights from Atlanta to Jacksonville. And our flight was totally packed.
Yeah, same.
Totally packed with fans that had gone to the game.
Right, same.
So, I mean, there certainly was an unbelievable contingent. Obviously, at the Wembley game Sunday, 86,000 plus, about 86 and
Best crowd they've ever had.
Best crowd they've ever had. And even like, again, going as a fan, there were a ton of Jaguar fans that I don't think were American. You don't know that, but just to hear them talk and kind of around us in the stands, and we took the tube to the game, and it was a lot of fun, and they deserve credit, the Jaguars, because they have certainly built. I thought the Patriots had a good representation as well. I mean, in terms of crowd noise, I thought it was kind of 50-50, but I saw a ton of Jaguars fans going over and coming back.
I sensed, to your point that you just made, this is my 10th year now. All right. I sensed that there were, in both places, Tottenham, which holds 60 or so, was packed. Wembley, which holds 86, was packed. I sensed more American football fans making the trip to both games than I have in the past. It's always sold out. But I think in the past it was mostly locals who just thought American football is cool. I want to go watch it. And now I thought there was more fans of the teams. I sense the Bears had a lot of fans at Tottenham. I mean, they really, I'm telling you, there was a good Bears following. Jags had them at both places, more at Wembley than Tottenham, obviously. But I really did. I thought the American fans that showed up, it was a really cool thing. And again, you bumped into them everywhere. Again, I'm like you on the plane, both planes, going and coming. Saw a lot of Jag fans. And again, I didn't fly with the team. I flew commercial because Suzanne went with me. And so it was fun. We had a wonderful time, and glad you did as well. We'll talk about the Jags and how they played and kind of where they are and what's coming up for them. We'll talk college football. The Gators played well. We'll certainly talk. I watched some of that game. I was trying to, I got a game to call the next day. Both games were at midnight or so on London time. Did you watch any of the Kentucky game?
Yeah, so I watched the first half.
Yeah.
And then I just had nothing left.
Yeah.
So I stopped watching it, and Gene and I went to bed, but I kept looking about every 50.
It's hard to go to sleep because you know what's going on.
Yeah, I kept looking at my phone, and I'm expecting to see the worst. That Kentucky's come back and Kentucky's taken it. And every time I peek at my phone, Florida's building a little bit bigger of a lead. So I never went back and watched it again, but I did peek at my phone 2 or 3 times in the second half and then finally went to sleep.
Both times I went to bed at 9, London time. Both times. Went to bed at 9, set my alarm. So I slept 3 hours. So the Tennessee game, I watched the first half. I watched until Mertz got hurt. It was 10-7 then. It was 10-0. Tennessee came down and scored. Mertz got hurt, or Mertz had been hurt, and then Lagway threw the interception. I turned it off. So I didn't see any of that. I didn't know till the next day. The overtime, they battled the whole bit. This game, sort of the same thing. We'll slept for 3.5 hours. Got up, watched the first half of the Kentucky game. Went to bed, and they rolled them in the second half. But it was 27-13, I think. It was after the kick return. I went to bed. And last night I watched the rest of it, by the way, and then watched. But I had a game to call. I didn't want to be tired, so I literally slept 3 hours, watched an hour and a half, slept 4 more hours.
And I had a lot of drinking to do the next day.
Yes, you did.
Stadium,
which is
I needed to get some sleep.
Maybe more important. So we'll talk a little bit about that, but good for them. So we'll talk baseball, Yankees and Dodgers. I like it that it's the Yankees and Dodgers. Do you care?
I do care. I think it's. I mean, I don't know how much I'll watch. Game 1 is Friday night.
Yeah.
But I think it's great for Major League Baseball that this is the matchup that they've gotten. It'll be a fantastic litmus test for Major League Baseball to know, are we gaining any ground here? Yeah. Because you couldn't draw this one up any better. I'm excited. I would guess that, like, in terms of watching it, I probably won't watch much over the weekend. But, if it gets to a game 5, 6, 7, if it has the makings of one of the best fall classics that we've had, then I'm definitely interested, which, again, for me, not being a baseball guy, is probably the best they could hope for in terms of bringing in as much of an audience as they can.
JJ, if it couldn't be the Braves, are you glad it's Yankees-Dodgers or you don't care?
I always cheer against the Yankees, so I loved that it had been so long that they're not in the World Series, but come on, this is epic. This is juicy. I'm all in on this.
Yeah, 14 years since the Yankees have been there. I think I saw this. I think I saw it right, JJ. I think this is the first, if I read this right, I almost fell out of my chair. It's the first time the home run leader in the American League and the home run leader in the National League have met since 46.
Wow.
Whoa.
I think if I read it right, it's the first time. And now, if I'm wrong,
that's sort of an odd stat.
The first time that the NL home run leader and the AL home run leader have played against each other in the World Series, I think, since the 40s. Now, again, I might have read it wrong, but I think I saw that right. So I
obviously it's Ohtani versus Judge, and like the two biggest stars, and it's not only the biggest teams in baseball.
Right, good point.
It's the biggest stars, and like if you want to talk about ratings, I am nervous as a baseball fan. Like, damn, if this doesn't do good, it's just going to be a bunch of national people crapping all over our sport again.
Well, the hell with them. But
exactly,
I agree with you.
I don't care. But when you look at like how insane the Japanese TV ratings will be for this. Like, I saw something recently where it was like at 4 a.m. or whatever time it is, like 1 in every 5 TVs was tuned into a baseball game for Ohtani. Like, this is going to be epic for their overseas product. Like, Ohtani is just, however much of a star he is here, you can't even fathom what he is over there.
Yeah, so but I agree with you. I hope that people watch it, but I know I'll be watching as you will as well. Quick thought on the Jags. Needed to win the game. I'm glad they won the game. Thought they played well. My question is, had they found a little something? There seemed to be a spark. There seemed to be an energy to their play. Not when the game started, but right after the 10-0, I thought there was an energy to them. My overview was what I liked. I think I'm seeing is young stars emerging. I thought Trevor played really well again. I thought, how many times do we have to say it? Brian Thomas Jr. is going to be a star in this league. Trayvon got his 6th sack. Tank Bigsby looks like the downhill runner they haven't had in a while. Ventrell Miller probably should have been playing the whole time. I'm seeing young stars. There's more to it than that, and they've got a brutal schedule coming up. There's no question about it. But I think I see not the next wave of Jags. I don't mean it like that. But I think I see the 20-somethings really rearing their head, the new guys. Now, Josh Hines-Allen isn't a new guy. He's still one of their better players. But you know what I mean? I think there's a youth movement of sorts. You want your best players to play the best, but you also want your young good players to start to emerge. And I felt that's what I felt coming out of that game. Tank, Ventrell, Trayvon another sack, Brian Thomas Jr. just doing what he does. Trevor, I thought, was very good in this. I thought Trevor's been pretty good 3 games in a row now. He's had some drops that aren't his fault. But I feel like young Jags coming on a little bit. Did you feel that way at all?
I do feel that way, but I also think that the Patriots are dreadful.
I agree.
I think
there's no denying that.
2 or 3 worst teams in the NFL. Their coach, calls them soft after the game. Gerard Mayo, Belichick the next day says, I know all those guys and they're not soft. It's like, New England, I thought Drake May looked good, and that's a concern because he had a good day overall, so that Jaguar secondary continues to get shredded. They've now allowed 70.8% completion percentage to opposing quarterbacks, 16 touchdowns, only 1 pick, passer rating of 113.8. That's disgusting. So I think a lot of it was how bad New England is. But to your point, now, look, we can sit here and speculate and say, I think they're good, I think they're bad. The next 5 weeks are going to tell the tale. You got to go 3-2, and these next 5, I think if you want to stay relevant in the race, and you're going up against 5 teams that I would say most, when you look at like the power rankings, most of those power rankings are going to have these 5 teams: Green Bay, Philly, Minnesota, Detroit, and Houston in their top 10.
Well, let me give you the numbers to support that. There's 11 teams in the NFL with 2 losses or fewer. Of the 32 teams, there's 11 with 2 losses or fewer. Of those 11, the Jags play them in the next 5 games. So 5 of those 11 are the Jags opponent. To your point, or the Jags opponents. Think about that number again. There's 11 teams and you've either played 6 or 7 games based on whether you've had your bye or not. 11 teams have 2 losses or fewer. Everybody else has more. The Jags play 5 straight games against one of those 11 teams. It's a brutal challenge. That's just reality.
It's a brutal challenge from a matchup standpoint. The other thing that I think is going to be really, really difficult on them is not having the bye, to spend basically 2 weeks over in London and then come back and have to hit the ground running. From a fatigue standpoint, you've gone through training camp. You've played 5 games, then you went over to London and played 2. Now you're coming back, no break, and you're entering this run. It's going to take the best strength and conditioning, the best mental toughness that they can harness, I think, to not allow that to creep in. Because I think these other teams, not only can you make the case that they're better, and in some matchups significantly better, they're also going to be fresher.
Yeah, that's a very good point. I hadn't thought about that, but it's a very good point. But you know what? Go play them. The beauty is you get to go play them.
You got to go at least 3-2 in these next 5, and then you're 5-7 with a soft, final slate of games. So then maybe you can get hot and do what you did a couple years ago. But they've got to find 3 wins in the next 5.
And the best way to go 3-2 is to win the first one. It's a home game. It's still against a very good but a young quarterback
who's throwing a bunch of picks.
Yeah, so it's a young quarterback who can throw the ball to you. He's good. He's really good.
Yeah, he's really good.
But it's a home game.
But he's thrown 8 picks.
But it's a home game against its quarterback that's throwing a bunch of picks. So get the next. We'll talk all about that. But hey, listen. At least they've positioned themselves now. It's only 2 wins, but you're looking uphill, but you can still see the top of the hill. And I think that's where they are. We'll talk more about that. We'll talk some Jaguar football, some college football. Matt Hays joins me as he always does at Tuesday at 5 o'clock to talk SEC football. A lot to do on the program. Glad you're with us on this Tuesday. It's always brought to you by our friends at the Nimnick family of dealerships. Nimnick Chevrolet is on Cassett. Nimnick Buick GMC is on Phillips Highway. When we come back, though, we'll start with our Duval County Scholar Athlete of the Week. That's next. Stay with us.
It's the ride home with the Frangie Show. From the Harrell and Harrell studio, don't settle for less than you deserve.
Frank Frangie here. These days, it's hard to know which companies to trust. When it comes to banking, I trust South State Bank. South State truly values its customers, and they work hard to create meaningful, lasting relationships. I love going into my local branch. I see the same smiling faces I've seen for years. South State is the largest bank headquartered in Florida, so they're able to offer all the banking services you need. You can trust South State Bank. Banking forward. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
The big stories from the weekend's big games.
They're fans of football.
That's what Postgame Monday is for.
What a game. Amazing.
Brought to you by Daddy Foods, makers of quality fresh sandwiches and home of the good stuff on 1010XL.
Lauren Brooks here. Now at Hodges Mazda, get 2.9% APR for 72 months on the 2024 Mazda CX-90, Mazda's largest and most luxurious SUV. Or drive home a 2023 Mazda CX-30 2.5S Preferred for as low as $26,999. This compact SUV is designed for both city driving and weekend getaways. Discover the Hodges Mazda difference with a non-commissioned sales team who are always focused on your best interests. Plus, enjoy 2 years of free maintenance. Visit Hodges Mazda today or shop online at hodgesmazda.com. See dealer for details. Terms and fees for qualified applicants. Expires October 31st, 2024.
Frank Frangie here, and I can't say enough good things about the team at Sunshine Turf and the work they've done for us. Let Sunshine Turf transform your backyard into a low-maintenance oasis that will be green all year long with artificial turf. Caleb and his team can help you create the lush outdoor space of your dreams, whether you want a durable place for your kids to play or you're ready to say goodbye to muddy paw prints. Visit sunshineturf.info or call 904-383-0243 for a free quote today from Sunshine Turf.
I'm Holt Harrell with Harrell & Harrell. Choosing a law firm after an accident is an important decision. So how do you decide? With so many messages on air, I know it can all sound the same. At Harrell & Harrell, we believe what sets us apart is our commitment to you. When you've been injured in an accident, you need help from someone you know, someone you can trust. Harrell & Harrell, a name you know, a name you trust. Don't settle for less than you deserve. Offices, Jacksonville.
Is your AC ready for the holidays? Bold City Heating and Air ensures your AC stays in tip-top shape. We know that a clean AC is a healthy AC. Upgrade yours for just $96 a month and enjoy free duct cleanings with your new system. Plus, ask about our 0% financing options. Bold City AC, we got the crew. Bold City AC. Visit boldcityac.com.
Are you looking for a place to outfit your truck or van? It's Catlin Truck Accessories. For 105 years and 4 generations, Catlin is the name you can count on. This is Keith Catlin, and we know trucks and vans too, from Lear toppers, ladder racks, van shelving, strobe lighting, rolling lot bed covers, and everything in between. If you want quality product and great customer service, there's only one name. It's Catlin.
Who can you count on? Count on Catlin.
For 105 years, you can count on Catlin.
Basketball is back in Duval. For your chance to win premium seats to the Gators versus USF basketball game at VyStar Veterans Memorial Arena November 4th, text BALL to the 1010XL text line covered by Lifetime Flooring at 641-1010.
Hey, Jacksonville Koozies, it's me, Soccer Sam, for Salvatore's Pizza. Rochester, New York's favorite pizza is now open in Jacksonville, Florida, Tapestry Park at the Loft Hotel Plaza. Daily $10 deals, dine in with beer and wine, and delivery at salvatores.com. The famous Formoso family brings Salvatore's Pizza, Rochester's favorite pizza, including our 32-piece sheet pizza for your next event. Go with me, baby. Salvatores.com.
Hacker here. And guys, the countdown is over. I didn't just hit the 100-pound mark. I blew past it thanks to Awaken 180 weight loss. 107 pounds gone just like that. More weight than a quarter keg of beer. Speaking of beer, here's where it gets fun. We're throwing a big celebration at Mr. Chubby's Wings in Ponte Vedra Beach. Yeah, you heard that right. A weight loss party at Mr. Chubby's. The irony's juicier than their wings, but here's the thing. I can celebrate at Mr. Chubby's, and and still keep the pounds off. If you didn't know, yes, wings are still on the menu while losing weight with Awaken 180 weight loss. Join me in 1010XL on November 9th for the Florida and Texas game, and you could win a spot at my table. Food is included. There'll be ticket giveaways and more for the celebration. If I can shed a whole Mr. Chubby and still throw a party at one, what's holding you back? Call Awaken 180, 844-346-1800, or hit up awaken180weightloss.com, and let's get it done.
Collisions happen on every play in football. Collisions also happen every day on the road. If you need auto body repair, from a $30 job to a $30,000 job, trust San Jose Collision in Mandarin.
This is Corona Premier. It's the light beer you didn't know was a light beer. Until right. Wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it. Now, Corona Premier, an unexpectedly light beer.
Rotator cuff injuries are common among athletes and those who have physically demanding careers. Don't let this injury keep you away from the sport you love. Dr. George Barry here, and the first thing you need to do with a serious shoulder injury is to diagnose where the damage is and how significant it is. Rotator cuff tears are either acute tears sustained during an injury or accident, or degenerative tears. If you're interested in learning more about rotator cuff repair and how our expert team of orthopedic surgeons can help you, call Barry Orthopedics today or visit barryorthopedics.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Hey, let's go! And now, this week's Scholar Athlete of the Week. Brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists and the Plumbers and Pipe Fitters Local Union 234 on 1010XL.
All right, it is time for our Duval County Scholar Athlete of the Week. It is Lucas Elliott, a golfer from Atlantic Coast, who joins us now. Lucas, how are you, man?
I'm doing great. I'm just happy to be here. It's an honor.
Great to have you. Well, congratulations, and it's good to have you in here. Played golf forever. Came up through junior golf, I take it. Tell us all about kind of your journey of golf.
I mean, I just started out. My dad would take me down to the course, let me hack at it for a while when I was younger, and then I just took it from there. Started playing tournaments, got into it, got serious about it, and it's been a pretty big part of my life.
Yeah, and Lucas, by the way, plays to a 0. Okay, so he's not. Yeah. He's some high school golfers are just trying to play on the team. Lucas is a real golfer.
Absolutely. So obviously you have a great all-around game, but do you have a strength of your game in your opinion?
I mean, I've always been a pretty good driver. You know, keeping it down the fairway, starting off the hole right. That's kind of how I like to play golf. Starting off the hole right, giving myself a good shot for birdie or for par.
Lucas was telling us during the break that he generally hits 12 to 14 fairways. You hit 12 to 14 fairways, you're probably going to have a pretty good round of golf.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I would say
Makes it a lot easier.
You better believe it does. So you go to Atlantic Coast. You've been on the golf team the whole time there. Obviously, you're an extremely good player. Tell me about that. Tell me about high school golf. What's it like? 9-hole matches, right?
Yes, sir.
Tell me all about it.
I mean, I love it. It's I get to be with my friends. I got friends that play on the golf team. It's just a way to relax, get my mind off school. And it's just real quick, go out and practice, play 9 with my buddies. It's almost like playing on the weekends. It's really fun.
Perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. The postseason's getting close. Do you have some goals, aspirations for this next few weeks of competition?
I mean, district tournaments are coming up. Competitive district. I'm trying to get out of districts as an individual golfer, get into regionals. I've done it the last 2 years. It's hard to do. You got to shoot around even. But that's my goal.
Yeah, so I was going to ask you that. To get out of district and get to the regionals as an individual, you got to shoot par, right?
Oh, yeah. A lot of good golfers up here. I mean, I think it's probably the hardest region in Florida.
Yeah, I would not surprise me. Golf, the most pro golfers that live in Florida live either here or Jupiter.
Yeah.
So I would imagine.
Yes, sir.
So tell us about some other things you're involved in. You're involved in the National Honor Society, Spanish National Honor Society as well.
Yes, sir. My mom's Colombian. Yep. I speak 2 languages. Always kind of been involved with that, and I think it's a really nice way to give back to Hispanic community and get myself involved with it.
Very cool.
Yeah, Lucas, where do you think you're going to be going to school?
I've applied for a few places. My main goal right now is to get into UF. It's a hard school to get into, and it's getting harder every single year. But I've worked hard for it, really trying to put in the time, getting those extracurriculars.
And what do you want to study? What do you want to do? What's the plan down the road?
I've thought about biology, favorite class in school, majoring in that. And just trying to take it to the medical field. So I'm going to probably major in biology and try to go into anesthesiology or something like that. Just, stuff I enjoy.
It's interesting, Lucas. You know this. I mean, you're a scratch golfer and you're probably going to play to a plus at some point. You could play college golf. No, I mean, so you probably had to make that decision somewhere along the line. Go somewhere where I could play college golf, or go get an education, or both, right?
Yeah. I've had colleges contact me. I've had that option. Still trying to like figure out exactly what I want to do, but I'm kind of leaning towards just going academic, and from there, trying to make it as a doctor.
Best round of golf you ever had?
I had a 69 2 times. One time earlier in my career when I was like 12 or 13, and one time about a month ago. Both rounds were crazy. Really, really just exciting. Makes me so happy when I play good like that. Yeah. It really does.
Shot 69 when he was 12. Okay, in case you're wondering, when he was 12. What's your best round in town? Best round of golf that you've played in Jacksonville?
Jacksonville. I probably shot 2 under out at Deerwood.
Okay.
In a tournament pretty recently. And I came off of a bad first day too, and I got that, and it brought me down into the podium, top 3 finish in a big tournament.
I would say shooting 70 at Deerwood's pretty doggone good. It's a great track. So, well, Lucas Elliott is our Duval County Scholar Athlete of the Week. Probably headed to Florida to study medicine, but right now is going to go win a district and a region championship.
Oh, yeah, I hope so.
Lucas, thanks for coming by. Congratulations.
Thanks for having me. It's an honor.
Lucas Elliott, a fantastic golfer and a student at the Atlantic Coast. He's our Duval County Scholar Athlete of the Week, and it's great having him in here. So, and I can tell you that playing as well as he plays, he can play golf a lot of places.
Absolutely.
I mean, he's a guy that's probably, he said he plays to a 0, but my guess is he's probably a guy that will be a +3, +4 by the time, before long. So he could play college golf. He told us kind of during the break, too, he's really got his goals set academically, wants to study some sort of a science and then get into the medical field, but you could tell he could play now.
Well, and he's so sharp to talk to him, and that's the stuff that's got to be such a challenge for colleges, because how much can so many people apply? But it's like if somebody from Florida just talks to him, how do you not take the kid?
Yeah, so that's exactly right. So congratulations to Lucas Elliott, our Duval County Scholar Athlete of the Week. All right, we're going to talk some SEC football with Matt Hays at the top of the hour. I'm going to take a break now. When we come back, I want to look into this Jaguars schedule upcoming. We talked about it. We touched on it. What we've seen of the Jaguars as they continue to develop, if you will, who they are. We'll talk a little bit about that. We'll talk a little bit about that Gator win as well. All that and more coming up. Glad you're with us on an MNIC Tuesday. It's 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
The Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Here's Linda Beaver.
Let's start the debate. Why would someone buy a new car from you? We have an exclusive 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty on every new vehicle. We offer a competitive wow price plus free oil changes. How much will someone get for their trade? We offer more than $4,000 over KBV value. Well, we never lose a trade over price. Okay, when is the best time to buy a car? Right now. Ladies and gentlemen, it doesn't matter which side you pick. At Beaver Toyota and Beaver Chevrolet, you get it all. Let us show you why we're the winning vote.
This is Hays Carlyon for Kingfish Pest Control. Are you tired of spiders, ants, roaches, or other pests invading your home? Call the winning team at Kingfish Pest Control. Right now, score 20% off your new pest control service when you start during the football season. Also, enter their Swat That Kick Jaguars promotion at Jaguars.com for a chance to win 3 years of free pest defense. Save big and defend your home with Kingfish Pest Control, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Frank Frangie here for Stanley Pools. You know, pool design has come a long way, and if your pool is outdated, Stanley Pools specializes in bringing older pools up to date for the whole family to enjoy. That's why I did it a few years ago, and man, I love the way my pool looks now after we added travertine pavers and so much else. Stanley Pools has been serving our community since 1988, so call them today at 269-7277 or find them online at StanleyPoolsFL.com. That's Stanley Pools, a family tradition of fine swimming pools.
Want to be up close and personal with the Jaguars as they take the field? Here's your chance to be in the shadows, outside the Jaguars locker room, now called The Vault. Enter today at everbank.com/shadows. One winner and a guest for every home game at Everbank Stadium. No purchase necessary to enter or win. Open to legal residents of the United States and D.C. 18 and older. Entry periods for the Shadow Sweepstakes promotion from 8/19/24 to 12/15/24. For official rules and complete details, visit everbank.com/shadows. Sponsored administrator, Everbank N.A. member FDIC.
Injured in an accident? Have mounting medical bills? Can't work? Don't worry. Zach's got your back. I'm Zach Von Rowan of Von Rowan Law. I will fight for the compensation that you deserve. Set up your free consultation at zachsgotyourback.com.
Ready to sharpen your aim or find the perfect firearm? Come to St. Nicholas Guns and Range for our White Tag sales event. Up to 20% off all White Tag firearms all October with a huge selection of guns, ammo, and gear, plus Jacksonville's best indoor range for every skill level. They've got what you need to hit your target. If you're a pro or just starting, their friendly experts will guide you at 4630 Blanding Boulevard or online at stnickguns.com. St. Nicholas Guns and Range. Gear up, shoot a lot, shoot better.
Start your Sunday off with a cup of Joe and some sports medicine intel. This is Joe C. inviting you to join me and Dr. George Bari for Breaking Bones every Sunday morning at 7:30. And if you miss an episode, just look for Breaking Bones wherever you listen to podcasts.
Hey, Jaguars fans, as the official whiskey of the NFL, it's not a kickoff without the generous spirit of Crown Royal. And that's why we've built the Crown Royal Rig. An absurdly awesome 18-wheeler delivering the generous spirit to stadiums and tailgates across the country. Follow the Royal Rig on its journey from city to city, bringing together local cuisine, NFL legends, and the opportunity to pack a purple bag for charity and win tickets to Super Bowl 59. Visit crownroyal.com for rules and more, and please drink responsibly.
Bueller Air and Plumbing presents Are You Cool?
Today's contestant, a gravy taster from Jacksonville, Florida, me, Dennis Mosley.
Hi, Ken.
Okay, Dennis. 100 plumbers surveyed, top answer on the board. What does it mean if someone says your home has hard water?
It's made of ice? Let's see. Hard water. Oh, is it club soda mixed 4-to-1 with vodka?
Last chance, Dennis. What is hard water?
Oh, is it that lime scale stuff that makes my taps all crusty?
That's right, Dennis. And a water treatment system from Bueller Air and Plumbing will eliminate troublesome lime-scale deposits that can ruin your expensive appliances and let your neighbors know for sure that you are cool.
I wonder if I can get me a gin and tonic faucet.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
Pickett here with my concierge doctor, Richard Townsend. Doc T, how does a concierge direct primary care operate?
We are a membership-based primary care made directly between the patient and physician. We'll have a limited amount of patients that allows us to give unlimited access and personal service to you. This individualized approach has been shown to lower hospitalizations as well as maintain healthier lives. We also give 24/7 access via phone to me outside of our scheduled office hours.
To learn more, go to mypvconcierge.com.
Welcome to ABS Advanced Business Solutions, your local print management partner, and home to Xerox and HP copiers.
Advanced Business Solutions.
GoABSinc.com.
This is Hays Carlyon for Skylife Elite. Have you ever thought about aircraft ownership as another potential revenue stream and as a tool for tax savings? Put your tax money to work for you while enjoying the benefits of private personal travel. Skylife Elite has over a decade of experience in business aviation and can guide you through the process with their expert staff. Call my friends over at Skylife Elite at 490-9332 or find them at flyskylife.com to get the rundown on everything owning an airplane can do for you.
This is Dr. Steve Crenshaw, Assistant Team Physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jaguars brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
Former first overall pick Trayvon Walker has finally ramped up his production this season, something the Jaguars have been wanting to see for a while. Walker had 3 tackles, a sack, and a tackle for loss in Sunday's victory over the Patriots. The defensive line as a whole is starting to come into form the more production they see out of Walker. Doug Peterson loves the impact of the improvement he has made on the D-line as a whole.
He definitely improves each week. He's learning different moves, pass rush moves. So you're seeing the power, you're seeing the length. For the whole D-line, now we've got to just finish better, just strain a little bit better, and we get a few more sacks, right? So, but Trayvon's in a good place. He works at it during the week, and it shows up on game day.
I'm Max Fink with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars update.
XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Doors, please. Time now for the Skylife Elite Take Flight Moment of the Week. Skylife Elite, North Florida's premier private air charter.
Play fake, Trevor drops the throw. Looking, fires deep downfield, wants Brian Thomas Jr. And that ball is caught! Somehow caught. He's tackled to the ground at the 20-yard line of the Patriots. Christian Gonzalez had great coverage, but it's a 58-yard gain to the 20-yard line.
All right, Frank Frangie on the call for that one. I think we're going to see this connection for another decade, and it will be so much fun to watch. Brian Thomas with just an electric catch. Trevor Lawrence with a beautifully placed deep ball. Really, the coverage was outstanding, but when Trevor Lawrence makes a play like that, Brian Thomas makes a play like that, not much the defender can do about it. Really gave the Jaguars a great spark, a perfect take flight moment of the week for us. Again, brought to you by our good friends at Sky Life Elite. If you're tired of canceled flights, unruly passengers, layovers, considering using private charter flights for your next adventure, Sky Life Elite, give them a call, 490-9332. You can also find them at flyskylife.com, North Florida's premier private air charter.
I saw my buddy Ryan Smith, who connected us with our Sky Life friends out there. Ryan made the trip.
Oh, good.
Ryan
How's he doing?
He's doing great, and he's
great dude.
Excited Jaguar fan. I will tell you, the Trevor to Brian Thomas Jr. thing is very real.
Oh, yeah.
It's a very real thing.
There's talk that, like, if you redid the draft, he'd go ahead of Marvin Harrison Jr.
He certainly would go very high. He certainly would go. I mean, he is a really good player. To have traded down and still gotten him at 23, he is a really good player. And, again, he's part of this team's present and future. Look, Trevor Lawrence could be here a long time. It's nice that he's going to have him with him. And so I think there's something special going on there. All right, some other things. I talked about the young players emerging. I forgot to mention Parker Washington. Parker Washington, that is a big-time punt return now. That is a legit.
Best in team history.
Yeah, it is a legit. So I said this at the top of the program, what I kind of came out of that game with, at least for me, is the young stars. Trevor, for sure. Brian Thomas Jr., Parker Washington, Tank Bigsby, Trayvon Walker, certainly more and more guys, Ventrell Miller. There's more and more of those young guys, all of whom were drafted, all of whom this team put together, all of whom this team continues to develop. Don't get me wrong, the veteran players are good players too, but you're seeing more and more of this youth. You're seeing more and more young stars emerge. It's a shame they're 2-5 and not 4-3. There's a couple games they're kicking them. The two games you're really kicking yourself for are the Miami game and the Houston game. Even Cleveland wasn't very good, but you didn't dominate that game. You had a chance at the end, but you didn't dominate Cleveland. I thought Cleveland outplayed. For whatever reason, as bad as they are, they outplayed Jacksonville that day. I'd be disingenuous if I said they didn't. But the Dolphins didn't and the Texans didn't. The Jags outplayed both of them, both on the road, led both of those games most of the game, just couldn't finish it. And if you win those two, you're 4-3, and now you're pretty well positioned. And you'd be undefeated in the division.
I mean, if they were 4-3, they'd be in the playoffs right now.
That's right.
Denver, Indianapolis, Pittsburgh are playoff teams.
That's right.
Right now.
That's correct.
I mean, I don't know that obviously that'll stay where it is, but the AFC, the wild card, it's weak.
Yeah, and so that's where you would be right now, and I think that's the shame of it, is the fact that you had a couple get away. Having said all that. You can't control that. What you can control now is you're 2-5. Go on. Again, you play really good teams. I'll say this again, and Hays made the point before I did. There's 11 teams in the NFL that have 2 losses or fewer. So that, at least today, Hays, that's the elite of the league. It could change tomorrow, but for today, there's 11 teams with 2 losses or fewer. The Jags play 5 of those teams, 5 of the 11 in their next 5 games. Hays made a good point, too. There's not a bye, so you don't have any time to kind of catch your breath. But having said that, I've said it all along, the Jags have the personnel to go toe-to-toe with those teams. Now, they've played 2 bad games. The Bills and the Bears, they played bad games. Other games, they're a play or 2 away. So I think you have the personnel. I don't hate the matchup against the Packers. Packers pretty good defensively, by the way. But Jordan Love, as good as he is, Jordan Love is still a young quarterback that will make mistakes. I thought the Jags showed some growth with a change at safety. I thought putting Darnell Savage back there at safety with Andre Sisco and giving Antonio Johnson, making him a reserve. Antonio's going to be a good player in time, but he was swimming. There's no question about that. Jarian Jones moved to the nickel. I thought he fit there well. I think that's how they'll stay. And when Dewey gets back, that'll help him because he's a veteran player. When Foye Oluokun gets back. So I think there's some positivity here. It's not all positive. I'm not being naive here. But I think there's some positivity and there's some positive things you can glean from from kind of where they are. But boy, the next one's important. I will say this: 2 years ago they were 2-6, and they came back from that. If they lose this game, they'll be 2-6, but that was unlikely. It's coming back the way they had to come back 2 years ago was an unlikely way to do it, or the way to have to do it. But right now, if you get to 3-5, well, then you're a step ahead of that. So, but again, these next 5 are going to be hard. But I like where they are going into the game. I guess that's kind of the point.
Yeah, I think so. And again, you're trying to get, a 3-2 mark over the next 5. If you're able to do that, you're 5-7, which isn't great, but you're still in the hunt, and the schedule will lighten up. So, then can you get hot? Can you get in? Again, we talked in the summer about, boy, the 8th team in the AFC, the one that just barely misses out, that's going to be a very good team. Well, that's not what it looks like right now. And maybe that'll change. But if the Broncos, Colts, and Steelers are your 3 wildcard teams right now, it's pretty wide open.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you can somehow find your way to, I would say it's beat Green Bay here, beat Minnesota here, and beat Houston here, and you lose at Philly and Detroit, then you're 5-7, and you at least have a chance to try and get hot and get in. If it's 2-3, you're done.
The 3 teams you just ran off, Steelers, Colts, Broncos, if the Jags played any of them here, or the Colts already haven't, they beat them, I'd pick the Jags to win those games. I don't know if I'd pick them on the road, but I'd pick them to beat, and I may be wrong, by the way, I've been wrong a bunch, but I'd pick them, if they played any of those 3 teams here and at home, I'd pick the Jags to win those games.
Heck, I would think the spread would be, if Denver was playing in Jacksonville, I would think it'd be Jacksonville by 1.5 points.
Yeah, something like that.
I would think same thing with the Colts and the Steelers. I would maybe the Steelers by because of their Steelers favored by 1, but they'd be 3 absolute coin flip games in Vegas.
What are you doing at running back when ETN gets back healthy?
You got to go with Bigsby. He's playing at too high a level. And again, it doesn't mean that you ignore ETN,
right?
But it's got to now be fully embraced that we've got 2 weapons.
That's right.
That have got to be an integral part of every game plan.
Yeah, it doesn't matter who starts the game. For the record, Dearness Johnson started this game because they wanted to throw on first down, and they had their third down offense kind of in the game. So it doesn't matter who starts the game. But I would have to say at the very least, and don't forget, Travis Etienne's a good player, but at the very least, Tank Bigsby's got to get your downhill run, and he's got to play as much as anybody does. So I think that's of significance. So that's step 1. Would you be tempted to play Parker Washington instead of Gabe Davis?
No,
still Gabe Davis.
I would still play Gabe.
Yeah, and
Davis.
I probably would too.
Yeah.
I
like the question, but
I probably would too. But Parker Washington, I think, is an emerging player.
Yeah.
The offensive line has stayed together and has played well.
Yeah.
I'm the one that said they should mix it up. They shouldn't have. They did. They got it right. They got it right by not mixing it up more.
What would you like to see on defense in terms of personnel?
I wouldn't go back to Antonio Johnson yet. Maybe in time. I would certainly stay with what they've done. When Dewey gets back, my rotation back there would be Savage and Cisco and Dewey. My guess is what they're going to do is it'll be Cisco and Dewey at safety and Savage back to nickel. That's my guess of what they're going to do, and I'm okay with that. Antonio Johnson's going to be a good player. Just he was swimming. He just too many.
And you can't at that position.
Yeah,
you can't be swimming.
Right, and you're the last line of defense. Yeah. I think when Tyson, I tell you what I would do. I would be tempted to play more Monteric Brown than Darby when Tyson Campbell came back. But we were told early on 35, 40 plays. He wasn't going to play 65 plays. He just wasn't going to. The average NFL game is 62, 63 plays per team on offense. He wasn't going to play that. He was going to play 35 or 40. But when he looked good. He made a couple tackles. He should have had an interception. He dropped an interception. But so what I would do, Hayes, is I would probably start Monteric Brown and play him more than Darby. But I'd probably play Darby some too. Tyson, I'd play every play when he's ready to do it. What about linebacker? What are you doing there?
Foye and Ventrell.
And I'm going to find this out. I think they pretty much play the same position so far, and the Mike and the Will are different. But I would imagine that Foye could play that Foye can play either one of them, and Ventrell, whichever one he's playing, I would be hard. And Devin Lloyd has played well the last couple of games. Devin Lloyd led him in tackles this week with 11 tackles, and he played pretty well. But he doesn't run like Foye and Ventrell run.
And he doesn't have the instincts that those two guys have.
There's a boom. And so I would be tempted. Again, they're not going to just pull anybody. They're not just going to be done with Devin Lloyd. They're not going to be done with Ronald Darby. nor should they. But I would probably play the other guys ahead of them. To your point, I would probably play. Eric Armstead played his best game. He finally looks like he's. It took a while, and look, we all know this. If a guy doesn't play at all in the preseason, because it's going to take a while, and I think he finally, I thought, played as well as he could play.
Well, and he strikes me as a guy that's like, look, I need to be at my best in January.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm sure
right.
when Eric Armstead signed here, he thought he was signing with a playoff team. So there probably was a very slow, certainly not what we're used to with players that come here in their first year, like very much a slow build for Eric Armstead in this season. So, yeah, to see Doug Peterson say that he's starting to get his sea legs, this is the time. Now you want to start cranking it up, and, it's good to see. So hopefully that'll continue.
Yeah, so we'll talk more Jaguars as we go, but a good win. The challenge is going to be steep, but it'll be a good, fun challenge. Let's get to college football for a second before I bring in Matt to talk just SEC stuff. What did you think of the Florida win, the 48-20 win over Kentucky? What did you take out of that? They're 4-3 now. They're 2-2 in the league. What did you take out of it?
I mean, you have a true freshman quarterback play the way Lagway played, and a true freshman running back run for 5 touchdowns. It says something about your head coach. Now, Billy Napier is very much maligned, and the verdict is still very much out. But I give him a lot of credit for having the ability to have 2 rookies come in there and play at that high level. Obviously, Kentucky isn't what they normally have been, but still to beat a team as convincingly as Florida beat them. And the other thing is defensively, Florida has found something. Now, again, maybe that gets exposed when they start seeing the elite of the elite. Again, they're getting ready to play after this bye week, number 2 Georgia, followed by number 5 Texas, followed by 18th ranked Ole Miss, followed by 8th ranked LSU. So we may be sitting here in a month saying, oh my God, I can't wait for the Billy Napier era to be over. But I have to say, I give Billy Napier a lot of credit that not only have they managed to tread water, they have really improved. Now, again, you can certainly make the case that it's been against bad teams, but I didn't think it was going to. I would have picked, if we had done picks, I'd have picked Kentucky because they've been for the last 3 or 4 years. They've been way more physical than Florida. They've bullied Florida, and Jack Pyburn is becoming one of the best stories in recent Gator football lore. I mean, he's gone from being a guy that was basically the last guy in that class to now he's the inspirational leader on the defense. I mean, his motor is unbelievable, and it's really started to trickle down to his teammates. Again, I think they're gonna get exposed, but you have to be impressed with what Napier's done.
All right, 2 or 3 things about that. I agree with everything you said. And look, you shouldn't have to play. If their schedule was even normal, they'd win 7 or 8 games. It's just an abnormal schedule because they play all these ranked teams. And throughout the course of the year. But so 2 or 3 thoughts about them. Number 1, in Lagway, by the way, wait till he learns how to play.
Yeah.
Right now, he's getting by on talent, moxie, savvy. But he doesn't know how to play yet. I mean, freshman quarterbacks don't know how to play yet. They'd all tell you that. They don't know how to go through progressions yet. They don't know the speed of the game yet. They don't know how to get to their second and third guy yet. They just nor should they. You're not supposed to know that. We're watching Nico go through that at Tennessee. He's having to learn how to play, and he's a redshirt freshman. So you have freshman quarterbacks have to learn how to play. Wait till he learns how to play. The arm strength, the athleticism, the accuracy, and this Jaden Ball guy. We saw him in spring. We've liked him all along. I'll give Napier credit. Hick and I talked about it at the podcast. He was a 3-star going to Arkansas. Well, Napier told me when we had him when he was here in town to talk that he actually played against Ball's dad. You remember that? Mm-hmm. He was a quarterback. Ball's dad was a linebacker. They played against each other in high school, so he's known the family forever. That kid, he's 235 pounds.
With really good feet.
Really good feet. That move he makes right when he gets the ball, so really good feet. So, but here 2 or 3 things I took out of the Florida game. And again, to your point, Georgia, Texas, Ole Miss, LSU, who knows if they're going to win any of those games. Those are really good teams. They're more veteran than Florida. They're probably more well-coached than Florida. I don't know if they're going to win it, but worry about that then. 2 or 3 things stood out. Number 1, I'm starting to sense that there's good young players, and I'm the one that's criticized their talent. but they're young talent. All of a sudden, obviously, Lagway and Ball. Trey Wilson, Aiden Mizell, there's something there with those receivers. Defensively, all of a sudden, the linebackers, Shamar James and Pup, and the two young guys, Childs and Graham. 13, Aaron Gates, the safety, looks like a player. It was great to see Kermani McLean kind of clean up some of the stuff that's going on in his life and make a pick six. Devin Moore is a pretty good cornerback. All of a sudden, these young players, you met Pyburn has changed the team. There's an energy there. Gums, 34. My biggest criticism of Florida is they used to have all these athletic defensive players, and it's been a long time. Well, you're starting to see it a little bit. Now, they got to find – if they wanted four, their offensive linemen can come back. Now, they may not, but they could. Two guys I criticized, Cam Jackson and Caleb Banks, have become pretty good players. That's one thing I've noticed. The second thing I've noticed is, to your point about defense, I'm not a football guy. I can't tell you what the guy's better at playing the 3 technique than he is the 0 technique that's a shade. I'm not football smart enough. What I can tell you is what I see. And it looks like they're crowding the line now. It now looks like there's 3 or 4 guys and then 2 or 3 linebackers walking up, and they look like they're playing with a bunch of players. They're not sitting back in that soft whatever they played for 3 years under him. They're crowding the line of scrimmage, and that's making, I think, 2 things. It's making Cam Jackson and Caleb Banks better players because now you got to figure out who you're double teaming, and it's making the offense better because they're not playing uphill all the time. The offense is getting the ball back after some 3 and outs, which for 2 years they never did. So I think that's changed. The other thing I've noticed about them is you made this point before anybody. You're the first person I heard make this point, and it's been right every time since I heard you say it. They have not quit on him. They play for him. You made that point. I think you made a point 3 or 4 weeks ago when we were all firing him. We were both firing him, but your point was give him. I think your point was 4 weeks ago. They shouldn't do it early because he hasn't lost the locker room. I think that was your phrasing.
Yeah, if they didn't have opt-outs, that would tell you a lot about
That's
Bill
right.
Napier.
But
they didn't.
And in addition to not having the opt-outs, the ones that are playing. They're playing hard for him. And so, again, I don't know if he's a very good coach. I don't know if he's going to be the coach moving forward. But I've noticed the effort, the young talent, and the fact that they're playing differently on defense. I think all of which has led to some of this. Again, we weren't even here for the Tennessee game where I wasn't here. But, Tennessee's good. And Florida probably should have beat them. Probably outplayed them.
Absolutely should have beat them.
Do you realize this? If they go for 2 and make it, so they're 1 play away, just for the sake of the conversation, you realize they'd be 5-2, 3-1, and ranked 15th. You realize that?
Yeah.
5-2, 3-1, and ranked in the top.
Yeah, because the Miami loss, there's certainly nothing to be ashamed about
A&M.
that, and the A&M loss.
Yeah,
those are 2 of the better teams in the country right now.
And so if you look at where they are, give him credit. I'm still not sure how good a coach he is, but he has done something. The last thing to do before we go to break, I want to talk about Graham Mertz. Graham Mertz defied the odds. Graham Mertz was a damn good Gator. He's a guy that nobody wanted, that nobody gave him a chance. His career completed 75% of his passes. That's a school record that will never be beaten. Okay, his touchdown to interception ratio was 26-5. That's 5-1. There's only one guy in school history close. Did you know that?
Mm-mm.
One guy, Tim Tebow, who's 82-16. He's the only one close. Now, in fairness to Werfel and Matthews, the game's different. And Grossman, now there's the little shovel pass and there's all the quick hitters. So your percentage is going to be higher now. But nonetheless.
You're saying if Werfel took the snap and just pitched it to Quez running across.
Right. He probably would have been okay.
That may
have been fewer
have
interceptions. Yeah.
Done well.
Yeah, that would have. But the point is, his numbers are really good.
They are.
He was a good Gator. I'm glad Graham Mertz is there. And I'm a big Mertz fan. I'm a big Mertz fan. I hate that he got hurt, and I love what he meant to Florida football. But the way it plays out is if Napier's going to be there next year, it could not have played out any better. They weren't winning anything this year anyway. But Lagway got to play under Mertz, and those two are very close. And part of that's because Mertz is just a great tutor but now Lagway gets to play. And I love Mertz. I'm a big Mertz fan. But there's obvious things that Lagway's going to be able to do, arm strength, chances down the field as a runner.
Deep ball accuracy.
That Graham wasn't going to do. Whether Graham wasn't taking shots down there, whether he knew his arm was, whatever. So I'm a big Mertz fan, but this could not have played out any better for the 25 team. If all of a sudden, regardless who's coaching them, if Lagway's still there and Baugh's still there and Trey Wilson, I worry about that because they don't target him very much now, but if Trey Wilson's still there and Aiden Mizell's there and most of that line is back, the 25 team, if Billy's coaching them or whoever's coaching them, those guys are there, this could not have worked out any better. Imagine what Lagway will be next year, because that's when those quarterbacks take that big step. Chris Leak, I watched him take a gigantic step. Tim Tebow, I watched him take a gigantic step. Werfel, the step they take in that second year when they've now seen it all. Grossman, when you've seen it all, the game slows down for you. And then you have a spring to go through after you've played. I know Lagway had a spring last year, but he didn't know what he was doing. Right now he does. So imagine what that'll be like for the 25 football team. It could not have worked out any better.
If DJ Lagway is a Gator in 25, the excitement will be off the charts.
It will be.
Regardless of who's coaching the Gators.
Yeah.
I mean, he just looks like, from an athletic standpoint, one of the best trait players that they've ever had there.
Yeah, if he continues to grow the way he has. And by the way, if Billy Napier's the coach, Lagway will be there. Texas A&M can throw all the money they want at him. It's clear he isn't leaving if Billy's his coach. If Billy's not his coach, you don't know. You hope the new coach could save him or whatever. But, I mean, it's just so, again, I want to temper my enthusiasm because it's going to be hard to win these next games. It's going to be Georgia's a 21-point favorite, I saw.
Yeah.
21.
Florida's not going to beat Georgia.
No, and they're probably not going to beat Texas.
Probably not going to beat Texas, but I wouldn't.
But then it gets interesting.
Yeah, but they certainly could split against Ole Miss and LSU with both those games being at home, and they really should beat Florida State, even though the game's a road game.
But it's a tough year for the Noles. So if he wins, if he does what you said, lose the next two, split those two, beats FSU 6-6. Is he back?
I think he will be.
I think he will be too. I think
if Lagway,
if they don't look dysfunctional,
correct. I think they will. I think they would bring him back. And again, you would have those bowl practices for Lagway, and the younger players. And while Florida's recruiting is certainly not sizzling right now because of the status of Napier, I think if Napier was able to do enough to survive, I think the chance to play with Lagway and Napier's ability to recruit, I wouldn't be surprised if Florida made a big push in the final weeks of the class.
All right, we'll take it from Florida football to SEC football. Matt Hays joins me every Tuesday to talk SEC football. That's next. Stay with us.
The Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
It's time for Bravo Days, Jacksonville's only Car Bravo certified sales event at Nimnick Buick GMC. For a limited time, enjoy rates as low as 1.9% APR or $500 in down payment assistance on Car Bravo certified vehicles at Nimnick. So now is the time to shop certified used vehicles and buy with confidence at Nimnick Buick GMC, Jacksonville's only Car Bravo certified dealer. Now, buying a certified used vehicle has never felt better. With Car Bravo, Nimnick Buick GMC can certify all makes and models. Honda, Toyota, Kia, Mazda, Ford. All makes, all models. And trading in your old vehicle? Well, don't forget who gives you the top dollar for your trade. Nobody but Nimnick. So shop online at NimnickBuickGMC.com or visit their showroom off Phillips Highway. Remember, it's Bravo Days, and Jacksonville's only Car Bravo certified sales event is at Nimnick.
Who brought the house to their feet?
Listen to this place.
Universal Roofing Contracting presents the Offensive Player of the Game.
Wide open and just what they needed.
Experience the universal difference on 1010XL. Now you can watch 1010XL shows all day on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Brought to you by MyBookie. Experience Vegas from the comfort of your phone anytime, anywhere. Sign up today. Use promo code 1010XL.
This is Hays Carlyon for Harold and Harold. I was at lunch with my good friend Holt, and he was telling me that sometimes a lawyer can get more from a case than their own client. I was surprised to hear this, but Holt said that doesn't happen with Harold and Harold. They'll never take a fee that is greater than their own client. When they say they treat their clients as a person and not a file, they mean it. Hopefully you won't need them, but if you're ever injured, call Harold and Harold at 904-251-1111. That's 904-251-1111.
This is Tony Baselli, Pro Football Hall of Famer. I was known for protecting our quarterback. These days, I'm extending that protection to a different arena, your home. I have partnered with Heritage Roofing of North Florida, your premier local roofers with over 25 years of experience. Heritage is your go-to roofer for hurricane preparation with same-day inspections and estimates. They also work with all insurance companies. Let Heritage Roofing of North Florida safeguard your home and family. Visit heritagenfl.com for your free estimate today.
State license CCC 1335410.
Poker players, brace yourselves. The World Poker Tour storms into Best Bet Jacksonville October 31st to November 19th, and the forecast calls for massive prize pools. Event
Event 1 has a cool $200,000 guarantee. Event 6, a downpour of $300,000. And the main event, a flood of a $1 million guarantee. WPT Championship satellites are already brewing. Don't get left high and dry. Head to bestbetjacks.com for details. That's bestbetjacks.com.
The best teal-colored coverage includes Mia's Quick Hits.
Get the latest news from inside the building and around the league. I'm Mia O'Brien, 1010XL's NFL Insider.
Driven by Arlington Toyota. Available on the video and social channels of 1010XL.
Hi, I'm Sean Monahan from Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach. Since 1977, we've been Jacksonville's local family jeweler with a beautiful selection of fine jewelry and GIA-certified diamonds. But we're also Jacksonville's leading buyer of gold, silver, and diamonds from the public. Gold has recently hit an all-time high at over $2,300 per ounce and hasn't seen this level in over 13 years. Pay bills, buy something fun. Now is the time to sell your gold for cash and get top dollar, or trade it for a new piece and get even more value at Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach.
When a plumbing or septic emergency happens, you want to have your ducks in a row with a company you can trust. Duck Rooter Plumbing and Septic Services is the #1 company on the First Coast. Check out our reviews online. DuckDuckRooter.com.
Home of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Jacksonville Cougars. It's me, Soccer Sam from Salvatore's Pizza. Rochester, New York's favorite pizzeria is now open in Jacksonville, Florida. Tapestry Park at the Loft Hotel Plaza. $10 daily deals, dine-in beer and wine, and delivery. Salvatores.com.
The experts at AMCO have been fixing cars for almost 60 years. Over that time, they've gotten more complex than ever. That's why our techs undergo rigorous training and certifications, so they can fix anything, including the most complicated repairs that come with some of the latest technologies. After 60 years, there's nothing we haven't seen or fixed. It's how we know cars inside and out.
Money tight? We can finance almost anybody. Find the AMCO transmissions nearest you at amcojacksonville.com.
What defines a hero? Dedication, loyalty, courage. Every day at AMCO, we serve heroes. For over 60 years, we've repaired and maintained the most critical public service vehicles. From complex transmissions to simple brake jobs with flexible financing and the extra safety precautions we need. The heroes we serve don't all wear uniforms. They're people like you. At AMCO, we're proud to serve all of you. AA MCO.
Family owned and operated in Jacksonville, Orange Park, St. Augustine, and St. Mary's, Georgia.
What if you could be debt-free by this January? Get rid of all that high-interest debt, pay off all your credit cards, consolidate everything into one lower payment. Hey, it's Prosper here, and if you're ready to stop stressing over bills, you need to call Loan Pronto right now. With rates at their lowest in 2 years, this is the perfect chance to use your home's equity and save big going into the new year. Loan Pronto's got rates with APRs in the low 5s, and they're getting homeowners hundreds of thousands out of their home's equity. Homeowners who do this save on average $850 a month. Loan Pronto offers a ton of options, including total refis, express equity lines of credit. So call now, get a rate quote in just minutes with no hard credit pull and no upfront fees like those other guys. Call today. You won't make a house payment till 2025. 904-999-1508. That's loanpronto.com or 904-999-1508. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781 on approved credit, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
I'm Max Fink here with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update. The Gators offense was in attack mode on Saturday night in their 48-20 beatdown on Kentucky. Florida turned heads with their ground game, led by freshman Jaden Ball's game-breaking performance. Ball carried the ball 22 times for 106 yards and 5 touchdowns. Ball was asked in the post-game press conference if the Gators' impressive performance on Saturday night sparked a new confidence in the team.
Well, it gives me confidence, but it also gives my team confidence too, as into we know we could have been did this as a offense and a defense. Like, the defense played great today. That gave us the opportunity on offense to do what we did today. And it gave me more confidence in my line, my O-line. Man, they played great today. Like, I ain't got words for it, but they played great.
It's 77 degrees at 5:06. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Time to talk all things SEC. Brought to you by Underwood Jewelers with college football insider Matt Hays on The Frangie Show.
All right, we thank our friends from Underwood Jewelers, as always. Been sponsoring the SEC Report for a long time. My boy Matty Hays is here from Primetime in USA Today. Matt, how are you, buddy?
Hi, Frank. How are you?
I'm good. I'm losing my voice here, Matt, but other than that, I'm good. Okay,
you and me both, bro.
All right, hey, let's get right to it. The obvious question was that, hey, Texas, welcome to the SEC. This ain't Kansas State and Iowa State anymore. Was it just one of those games? Was Georgia ticked off? What was your read when Georgia rolling Texas as badly as they did?
Well, a couple things. I think when Georgia gets it in its head, and Kirby gets this in their head, that they're being disrespected, and that nobody believes in them, and when they get fired up and dialed in, I don't think anybody's going to beat them. Yeah. So I think that's part of it. Michael Williams came back. That was huge for them because then you've got two guys off the edge. We already know what Jalen Walker is. He's just unbelievable. And if you get Michael on the other side, you've got two guys you got to deal with. And I don't blame Quinn Ewers at all. I don't care who you are. Any quarterback is not going to have success against that kind of pass rush. I don't care who you are. So it's partly that. I also think it's partly let's also take a little step back and look at what Texas has done this year. They, the game that we thought was such a great game, Michigan on the road, doesn't look too good.
Right.
I mean,
right.
Illinois just beat Michigan.
Yep.
So then you start wondering, all right, well, what has Texas done? And here's another thing that's just absolutely crazy to me. We're now into week 4 of October, Frank. October, second month. Texas still has not played a true SEC road game. Right. Still. So I think it's a lot of what Georgia did, and I also think it's, hey, these guys don't know what it's like to play in this league on the road yet. Not only that, but in consecutive weeks on the road. So let's see what happens in the next month to see what, if they're for real or not.
See, you said the same thing I did, Matt, and you were one step ahead of me on this. But I have pulled up Texas's schedule, and they have beaten Colorado State, a Michigan team that obviously isn't nearly as good, Texas San Antonio, Louisiana Monroe, Mississippi State, an awful Oklahoma team that South Carolina rolled, and then got wasted by Georgia. I'm wondering if my friend Pete Prisco says name over game. I wonder if they're not nearly as good as we thought they were. I mean, and I'm not taking anything away from Georgia, but I'm just wondering is maybe Texas not all that? The point you just made.
Well, I mean, they played the worst team in the league, Mississippi State, and the second worst team. Many people would agree that Oklahoma's probably the second or third worst team in the league, right?
Yep.
Then you play the best team, and you lose by 15 at home, and it wasn't that close. It was, Georgia kind of played 4 quarters defense there in the second half and kind of like just ran the clock out. So, yeah, I mean, and Carson Beck played the worst game of his career. If he has just a typical Carson Beck game, they might score 45 in that game. So I think Texas is, while you like what they have talent-wise, I don't think we have any idea what they're going to do when they go on the road in this league. It's difficult to win. You guys know that. We talk about it all the time, Frank. And they're going to a place this week. It's Vandy. And you'd laugh at that in previous years, but look what Vandy did to Alabama at home. So there's no givens anymore. And then you've got Arkansas on the road, a former Southwest Conference rival who hates Texas, hates everything about Texas, wants nothing but to beat Texas. And then the final game of the season is at Texas A&M, which, their big rival. So they've got some heavy lifting to do before they even think about the playoffs.
Yeah, and Georgia's legit. We know that. There's no doubting that. Alabama at Tennessee, what a game. I don't know what to make of that. Yeah. Alabama finally has 2 losses before. This is the first time Alabama's had 2 losses before November since 2007. We all know the number. Tennessee was the better team, I thought, watching that game. It was close. What did you think? What was your take on that game?
Honestly, Frank, Nico Iamaleava, he missed 5 or 6 deep balls.
Correct.
He hits half those things, and they might win by 21.
Right.
So, to me, I look at that game, and I think, all right, well, Tennessee won. It was a big win. Tennessee left a lot of points on the board, a lot. And I think that's the big takeaway for me is if Nico becomes a more accurate thrower, which he played really well early in the season, obviously you're playing, the opponents are much more tougher now, but if he becomes that accurate guy that he was early in the season, my God, Tennessee's going to be hard to stop.
Yeah, I agree with you. LSU, who you love, and you're a big Brian Kelly fan, and you should be, LSU's found a rhythm, haven't they? I mean, Arkansas is not great, but they went on the road and won 34-10. No one talks about LSU because they're busy talking about Georgia with reason, Texas with reason. But LSU's found something, haven't they?
I think they're getting better defensively, and I think they're starting to buy into what Blake Baker's selling, the DC there. I think the reason why everyone's not buying in on LSU, Frank, honestly, is because the USC game to start the season.
Right.
And then I think the South Carolina game, even though they won that, I think there are a lot of people looking back going, wait a second. In no world should LSU be down double digits South Carolina.
Right.
And they were, and they came back and they won the game. But I think there was some hesitation. Then they beat Ole Miss at home, which was a great win, a last play win. And then you go on the road against an Arkansas team that's got a little momentum after beating Tennessee, feeling good, and they just absolutely dominated. They whipped Arkansas in that game. So that, to me, that was the most impressive game of the season so far for LSU.
Why is Oklahoma so bad? What happened? Is it the SEC? Is it Venables? Is it the quarterback mess? Why are they so bad?
No, I don't think it's Venables at all. I think you've got a quarterback. Well, first, I think it's a lot of. If you want to blame Venables for anything, it's probably hiring Seth Luttrell as OC.
Right.
That was the start, and Seth was just fired a couple days ago.
Yep.
You saw Jackson Arnold, who regressed in his second year there. The quarterback play was shabby, and then you can say, look, their first 5 receivers are injured. That's a problem. Their offensive line's completely rebuilt from last year. They lead the SEC in sacks. There's a lot of stuff going on there. And I think the offense is really, really struggling. The defense is really good. They can't get off the field. And at some point in the third and fourth quarter, they die. And that's where they're at right now. So offensively, they're very challenged. And honestly, Frank, I don't know if they're going to get to 6 wins.
If you'd have told me any years ago in my 60 plus on the planet that Oklahoma was getting ready to play Ole Miss and Oklahoma had no chance, I'd have told you lost your mind. Well, I mean, think about that. Ole Miss is playing Oklahoma, and Oklahoma has no chance. I mean, crazy. It's crazy.
If I had told you 4 years ago, if I had told you Oklahoma and Texas are going to the SEC and Texas is going to be far and away the better team, better set up to win, what would you have said? You got to be out of your mind.
Lost your mind. That's exactly right. So, speaking of Texas, you said this earlier. The game's at Vanderbilt. I think they got the goalposts back and put them back up. So I think that's good. Does Vandy hang around being at home against Texas?
Yes.
I think they do, don't they? I think they do.
Yes, of course. I don't see at this point. We're now deep into the season. They're 5-2. They're ranked.
Yeah.
I mean, look, we've seen Diego Pavia. We've seen, we've seen the way they play. Stover's a really good tight end. I think they play smart on defense. If Texas goes in and thinks they're just Texas and they're going to go waltz through that thing, they're going to have problems. They will have problems because Vandy's not going to beat itself like it used to in years past. That's the key.
Yeah, I agree with you. Best game of the week is LSU at A&M. Who do you like there?
Man, I don't know, but if you're A&M, Frank, and you are ever going to take a stand in the SEC, and I mean ever,
great point.
If you're ever going to say, okay, here we go, this is who we are, it's this game. There's 2 unbeatens left in the league. You got the other one at home in your place. The place will be crazy. Now is the time to do it. I mean, honestly, I like LSU. I do. I just think LSU's better offensively right now.
I didn't even think about what you just said, but you're right. Alabama, Tennessee, Georgia, they've all lost. These 2 haven't lost.
Yeah.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
Final thing. What did you make of Florida playing so well against it? I wasn't here last week, so we couldn't talk about it. But they played a hell of a game against Tennessee. Probably should have won on the road. And then walloped Kentucky. Now, Kentucky's not great, but Florida hadn't walloped them in a while. Are they turning the corner under Billy Napier? Is it just a blip? What do you think of where Florida is now?
I can tell you this. Prior to the UCF game, okay, there were players that went to Billy Napier and said, we can't win with this defense. We can't win. We either got to simplify it or we're not going to win.
Wow.
And they changed, and they started simplifying things. And there's a reason they're playing better. There's a reason they played really well against a good run team at UCF. There's a reason they played well at Tennessee. And then they played well last week against Kentucky. The end of the game where Kentucky got a couple throwaways was nothing, but I think they're starting to find a little rhythm defensively. That's what it is as much as anything.
Great point.
And once DJ Lagway gets a little more comfortable and starts getting a little more reps, then you got a chance on offense too, I think.
Yeah, I told Hays this earlier, Matt, that DJ, wait till he learns freshmen don't know how to play. And any coach will tell you that. Freshmen don't. They've never played guys this much speed. They've never had to go through progressions. Wait till DJ Lagway learns how to play. He's got a chance to be a really.
Yeah, because he can. I'll tell you what, he can spin it, man.
Boy, he can really spin it. He's a physical guy as well. Matt Hays talking SEC. Does a great job. It's brought to you by Underwood Jewelers. Thanks, Matty. Talk to you, buddy.
Thanks, Mike.
All right, Matt Hays talking SEC football. We do it every Tuesday. It's brought to you by Underwood Jewelers. We'll take a break. Hayes has headlines on the other side. Stick around.
It's the ride home with the Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Players spend a lifetime building their bodies into finely tuned muscle machines.
Obviously, you want your star wide receiver to be in top physical and emotional condition.
Listen for the personal injury attorneys Farah and Farah Injury Update.
Jacksonville
on 1010XL.
Hey, sports fans, it's Hays Carlyon for MyBookie. Find your midseason stride with MyBookie. Take advantage of their live betting, especially if a heavy favorite gets off to a slow start, and check out their cool prop bets. If you haven't signed up, go to mybookie.ag and register for a free account. Use promo code 1010XL to get a double bonus. For a limited time, MyBookie will double your money on your first deposit. Let's take a look at some updated MyBookie lines. The Jaguars are a 4.5-point underdog against the visiting Packers. The over-under is 50 points. The Texans are a 5.5-point home favorite over the Colts. And in college football, the Canes, a 21-point home favorite over the Knowles. Sign up with that promo code 1010XL to claim your deposit bonus. Again, it's a double bonus. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie. And don't forget that promo code 1010XL.
I'm here with Clayton Bromberg of Underwoods. Clayton, how does a diamond or piece of jewelry have its price authenticated by an independent appraisal?
Frank, simply put, there's a difference between a selling price and an appraisal value. In the estate and auction business, you almost always see a new replacement price put on an old used piece. But when you have a new piece with a higher replacement price, you have to wonder why somebody would sell you something for a lot less than it's worth, unless maybe it's not worth what they said. Let me tell you a story about what happened at Underwoods the other day. We were putting into stock a 1-carat diamond that had an EGL report on it. When we opened the report, we found a separate appraisal for the diamond by the Universal Gemological Services, which, by the way, is owned by that laboratory. They appraised the diamond loose for $7,230, which we found interesting because the diamond was in our stock at $5,100. I can honestly say that that diamond wouldn't sell anywhere for $7,230, so that type appraisal is worthless.
That's Underwoods, where they make it a point to know the truth about diamonds and jewelry at San Marco, Avondale, or the shops of Ponte Vedra.
When you're a little kid on the playground, they tell you don't hit back. Well, the courtroom isn't a playground. And if you've suffered an injury or death in your family, I'm here to tell you it's okay to hit back and fight to make them pay. I'm attorney Brett Hastings, and at Hastings Injury Law, we understand all the pain and emotion that comes with being wrong. And we've dedicated our lives to making things right for people like you. So if you get hit back with Hastings Injury Law. Offices, Jacksonville.
Hey folks, Rick Ballou here for John's Auto. They've been a staple in Jacksonville going all the way back to 1985. At John's Auto, they service all makes, all models, cars, trucks, diesel, you name it, they do it. Whether it's routine maintenance or a complete engine overhaul. Call John's Auto on Arlington Road. That's 904-743-3857 or go to johnsautomotivejacks.com.
They're out to test our reputation as the best plumber in Jacks, so we gotta play like the experts we are. Now, who are we?
Roland Reach Plumbing!
Now that's what a winner sounds like.
Customers always win with Roland Reach Plumbing at plumberinjacks.com.
Now that's what I call high-quality H2O.
If you want high-quality water in your home at a fair price that won't scare you to death, then talk to someone who knows water and is not a pushy salesman. Contact your local water boy, Keith. I install premium equipment and can repair or even rebuild your existing system. In a business known for aggressive sales tactics, let me show you how my approach is different. If you've got any water problems, contact the water boy at waterboyjack.com.
It's hard to stop. The Tomahawk Chop.
I'm RJ Saunders. Follow Florida State's road to the college football playoff on the Seminole Report.
Brought to you by your local Ag Pro, your home team on 1010XL.
Brackish Vodka, the official vodka of UNF Athletics, 100% made in Jacksonville, is available at all local liquor stores. Visit Browdy's, Total Wine, ABC, Shores, Golden, Sahara's, Golden Ox, and more. Drink our gluten-free San Francisco Spirit award-winning vodka and see why it's the smoothest vodka you can buy. When you drink Brackish Vodka, you support all of our local employees and all the money stays in Jacksonville. Drink Brackish Vodka and live life slightly salty. Proud partner of the Jaguars.
High-flying Jack O'Brien here, sports fans. And now, I'm going to share the absolute right way to pronounce Kuhn flowers. It's Kuhn. Kuhn flowers. Remember, use Kuhn flowers.
Hey, gang, Prosser here. Telling you once again about Chad and Sandy Newman. Mortgage rates are down, creating more active buyers and sellers. If you've been waiting, now is a great time to sell your home before more homes flood the market, driving down prices. So maybe you want guaranteed no-hassle home sale, but don't want to give up hard-earned equity to do it. They can handle that. You see, Chad and Sandy can take every problem you think you have and replace it with a promise. Chad and Sandy guarantee your home sold at an agreed-upon price and deadline, or they will buy it. The success stories are rolling in. Mike and Lisa in McCormick. We inherited a family home that came with equity but also a mortgage. We needed to sell fast to avoid extra expenses on a second mortgage. We heard about Chad and Sandy on the radio and called. Everything they say on the radio is true. The home sold in 3 days for full asking price. Call Chad and Sandy today, 904-414-6200, or go to chadandsandy.com. That's ChadAndSandy.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? Gather round.
It's Hays' Headlines, presented by Harrell and Harrell. Don't settle for less than you deserve. Hear all about it. Here's Hays Carlyon.
All right, welcome back to the Frangie Show. Frank Frangie, JJ LaSelva are here. I am Hays Carlyon. Thank you to our friends at Harrell and Harrell. Give them a call at 251-1111. Frank, good news for the Jaguars defense. Star linebacker Foye Oluokun had his window open today to return, as did safety Andrew Wingard.
Two guys that'll really help because they know how to play. Two veteran guys that know how to play, Hays, and I can promise you the coaches are excited. We'll see when they're able to play in a game, and when they do come back, it won't be 65 plays. It'll be 35 or 40, I would imagine, just like they eased Tyson Campbell back. But you need your veteran guys. The way it plays out, hey, I know it's next man up in the NFL, but the way it's played out for the Jaguars, they've been put in a situation where they've got to play an awful lot of young players, maybe more than you'd like. It's good to have two veterans coming back. It really is.
Without a doubt, left tackle Cam Robinson is in concussion protocol, but hopefully he will not be in there for very long.
I'll say this, and I hate it for Cam because Cam's a tough guy, and you need tough guys. Walker Little played well. They didn't miss a beat when he got in there. I thought they had a rhythm to him. We said all camp the whole time, if there's one area of depth on this team, it's they have three pretty good offensive tackles, and I thought Walker was ready to play when he went in.
The Jaguars have been flexed out of Sunday Night Football. They will play at Philadelphia at 4:05 on November 3rd.
Yeah, when you're 2-5, the NBC doesn't want you, and Sunday night doesn't want. And I get it, and I think the Jags get it too. You earn your right to be in those Sunday night games, and Hays, you earn your right to stay in those Sunday night games. And so I think, look, I thought they'd get flexed back to a 1 o'clock game. So at least it's a bigger TV audience watching the game. I was relatively convinced that game was going to go from 8:20 to 1, not 4:05.
Yeah, and at least you don't get home at 3 in the morning.
Yeah,
so that'll be good. Week 7 concluded in the NFL last night with Lamar Jackson dazzling with 5 touchdown passes and a big win over Tampa Bay. Jackson leads the NFL in passer rating at 118.0. Obviously, we know about his mobility. Interesting that he leads the league in passer rating.
What a good player. I mean, do you just go ahead and give him the MVP now?
That'd be his third one.
Because he's ahead of the game in terms of the MVP. What a good player. And I'll say this about Lamar. The game looks easy for him. It looks like he just. Do you get the impression you watch him play? He's out there just kind of messing around. It doesn't feel that way.
It does,
and the game looks so easy for him.
Yeah, and all 5 touchdowns were sort of different kind of throws. So masterful performance. Of course, it helps when Lamar Jackson also has the Yulee bulldozer.
Yeah, is he
Derrick Henry in the backfield?
Yeah, I guess he's over the hill, huh?
Yeah, wow.
He's too old.
Derrick Henry has 873 rushing yards this season. He's 206 yards ahead of second place San Francisco's Jordan Mason. 206 yards ahead of him.
Do you realize he's one of the best backs in the history of the league?
Without a doubt.
In the history of the league. I mean, in a league that gave you Jim Brown and Barry Sanders and Emmitt Smith and go on and on. I mean, he's 200 clear of the field. 2 years after people said he was too old. 2 years after he was over the hill. What a fantastic player. And I'm proud that he's from around here. I hate that he always plays for the opponent. But he's a good player, man. He has earned, and we've had him. I remember we've had him on the air when he was in high school. We had him on the air when he was at Alabama. I say we, our radio station. The primetime guys have had him a bunch. He is a good player, man. Hey, good for Derrick Henry.
Absolutely. First ballot Hall of Famer, in my opinion. Tampa Bay in that loss, boy, tough night for the Buccaneers. They lose receivers Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. Evans tied for the NFL lead with 6 receiving touchdowns, hurt his hamstring. Initial reports believe that injury is going to keep him out at least 3 games.
Yeah.
And the big one, Godwin, dislocated his ankle in the final minute. He's second in the NFL in receiving yards with 576 and 5 touchdowns. Baker Mayfield, the Bucs quarterback, leads the NFL with 18 passing touchdowns, but now doesn't have either of his top guys.
Yeah, 2 thoughts. The Godwin thing, you hated it when the game was over. You hated that he was still in the game when the game. There's a reason the colleges are better than the pros about this, about pulling your guys. You know, you hated it. Remember, he's a free agent now, so it might be his last game ever in Tampa. Did you hate that happened late in the game? The Evans one was weird. It was a perfect throw. Were you watching at the time? It was a perfect throw by Mayfield. And I wonder if it pulled or snapped as he was trying, because Evans doesn't drop that ball very often, and that was a drop. I mean, the defensive guy was there, but that was you can't throw a deep ball any better than that. And he dropped it and then grabbed his hamstring. I wonder if he heard it even before the ball got there.
Yeah,
you know, because how does he drop? Mike Evans doesn't drop that ball. Perfect throw. So yeah, that was a tough night for the Bucs.
It was a crazy week for receiver attrition in the NFL. 49ers lose Brandon Ayuk to a torn ACL and MCL.
What a journey this year's been for him.
Wow.
I mean, think about all the holding out and not practicing, and then finally gets back and is rusty, and the team's struggling, and then he blows his knee.
Yeah, tough year right now for San Francisco. They are really struggling to lose to the Chiefs on Sunday. The Seahawks receiver DK Metcalf has a minor knee injury, but is considered week to week. So a Seattle superstar probably not going to be available for a week or 2.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, they're an interesting team. Seattle's pretty good, but it's interesting. We kept talking about all the quarterbacks in the AFC and how hard the AFC is and how good the conference is. The NFC is tough to get out of now because nobody saw the NFC North being like this.
Right.
That's freaking our luck, the Jags' luck, and the whole division's luck. That all of a sudden the AFC North is freaking the old black and blue division, right. Or NFC North rather. That came out of nowhere. Nobody saw the Commanders being like this, So all of a sudden the NFC has had some teams rise to the forefront that nobody saw. At least I didn't see coming.
One of those NFC North teams got some bad news. Lions receiver Jamison Williams suspended 2 games for PEDs.
Yeah, I saw that, which is surprising, but 2 games you can overcome. They have a good team.
Let's get into college football. The Gators beat Kentucky, led by true freshman DJ Lagway and running back Jaden Baugh. Frank, how bright is the future for those 2 players?
Well, that's the thing. Number one, extremely bright. There's so much going on with Florida football. We talked about it earlier, Hays. So much going on with Florida football. Is Napier the coach next year? If he's not, do those guys leave? Remember, he played against Baugh's dad, and he's very close to the Lagway family. But it's not just those 2 guys. If you pay attention, slowly but surely, there's young players. It's only his 3rd year of coaching, of building this thing. And we've all been down on him. I've been as down on him as anybody. I've had him fired as many times. I'm not pointing the finger at anybody else. I've fired him as many times as anybody has now. But if you really think about it, there's some young players, Hays. There's some young linebackers. There's some young cornerbacks. There's some young receivers and a really good quarterback and running back. I'll be interested when Montrell Johnson comes back to see how they play that.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Because Jaden Baugh, now Montrell played really well against Tennessee now, really well. But I don't know that I thought Jacoby Jackson played well. I thought the junior college running back. So finally some hope. You got to squint a little bit to see it.
Yeah.
But there's a little bit of hope there in Gainesville.
Without a doubt. We haven't talked about the Noles. Florida State falls to 1-6 after losing at Duke on Friday night. How bad is this going to get?
Yeah, what I felt bad for them is Brock Glenn seemed like he was developing, and then just the awful interception, and then Luke Kromenhoek wound up playing in the game. I will say it again, it is the most puzzling, astounding college football season I've ever seen. A team going from 13-0 in the regular season to 6?
1-6.
1-6 in a league that's not very good.
Right. With your hardest games, they've played Clemson, but certainly a lot of your hard games still to come.
How many in a nationally televised 7 o'clock primetime game? How many of the Canes JJ, how many are you putting on the Noles this week? You got a number? What's the over number?
I actually think the Noles defense is pretty good.
It is.
Which is, not saying a lot for a 1-6 team, but their offense is so putrid. They put them in a terrible position. Like, the worst receivers I've ever seen at Florida State. They were, Kromenhoek's first collegiate pass was a 50-yard touchdown.
Beauty.
Right down the middle of the field, and it was just dropped.
Yeah, and no, you're right.
And the O-line's terrible. They're going to get this kid killed I don't know how they're so terrible.
How that team got so bad. And by the way,
they had to rely on a kick return.
Miami
for the
might
only
have,
score last
I don't know what the stats are. Miami might have the best offense in the country.
Oh, yeah.
They may be the best offensive team in the country. I don't care how good FSU's defense is, and it's Miami FSU, and it's been a long time since Miami's beaten FSU some, but they haven't taken them to the woodshed in a while.
They did a few. They did, but not as when Miami was good. It was a meaningless game. But 2 years ago, Florida State destroyed Miami. And Mario was quoted as saying, hey, we'll be, the shoe will be on the other foot soon. And I think he's going to try his best.
The line's 21. I would easily take Miami.
I would lay that 21. Line. There's rarely a 20-point line that I would ever lay the number.
Yeah.
But I would lay the number.
I'll give you 3 stats on Florida State. Defensively, they're last in the nation. They've only forced 3 takeaways all season.
Yeah.
Offensively, they are next to last in scoring offense at 15 points a game. Again, that means you're 132nd in the country.
Yeah,
there's 133 teams.
Yeah, and with all due respect, you're playing Boston College and Georgia Tech, and you're not playing
Memphis,
SMU.
Right.
Yeah, you're not playing. You're not going through the SEC or the Big Ten to have that number.
No, you're not, and they're tied. They're 129th. Third down offense, 26.8%.
Yeah,
just an absolute
honestly,
dreadful
and I mean this, and I'm not mocking or trolling when I say this. I am truly puzzled that it got this. And believe me, I'd say the same thing about Ohio State if they were 13-0 1 year.
Sure.
I can't understand. I guess I can understand. The good players are gone. The ones you had to replace them aren't very good. But I'm so surprised that FSU tumbled this far this fast. I really, really am.
I think it's one of the most stunning things I've seen in my college football fandom.
Yeah, really, same. It's just. I mean, they were 13-0.
Yeah.
They were 13-0, and again, most of the people I know agree they got screwed out of being in the playoffs. And had Jordan Travis not gotten hurt, A, they would have been in the playoffs. B, they might have won the damn thing. They were with that defense the way it played last year, and with him and Coleman and Johnny Wilson and Trey Benson, all those guys on offense, Jaheim Bell, they might have won the damn thing. And now to be what they are now is astounding.
It really is. Georgia got a huge road win at Texas. Are they the best team in the country?
It sure looks that way. I will tell you this. I've watched enough now of both Oregon and Ohio State that even with my SEC snobbery, they're pretty good. I think both Oregon and Ohio State obviously will both be in the playoffs. They're going to be a pain in the butt for somebody, Georgia included. So I don't know that Georgia's better than those two teams. That's the two, and I know they just played each other. But I don't know that Georgia's better than those guys. But they're better than everybody else, I can tell you that.
Great win for Tennessee on Rocky Top as the Vols take down Alabama, pushing the Tide to the brink of playoff elimination. Frank, will Kalen DeBoer make the playoff?
Yeah, I think 2 losses you get in. I don't sense that 3-loss teams are going to get in. Maybe 1 or 2. Maybe 1.
If it would be 1, it'd be Alabama.
Yeah, you're right.
I think we're going to be surprised. I think we're going to get a 3-loss SEC team in this every year.
You might be right. And I hear you. I don't disagree with that. But and
I don't hate that.
Same. I don't think Alabama's terrible. but there's something missing. There's an efficiency missing there. I mean, he missed open guys, man, in that game a bunch. So look, it's kind of like the NFL, and Billy Napier said it. He said, look, it's like the NFL now, that anybody can beat anybody. I mean, when Vanderbilt beats Alabama, you're now where anybody can beat anybody. So it'll be interesting to see.
Without a doubt. Let's get to Major League Baseball. Yankees-Dodgers will meet in the World Series. Game 1 is Friday in L.A. Do you have an early vibe of who you're going to pick?
I will tell you this. I'm going to pick the Dodgers because I'm a National League guy. Just who I am, a big National League guy. But I am excited about this World Series. I can tell you I'm not always. As much as I love baseball, JJ's a better baseball fan than me because he's probably excited no matter who's playing. JJ, I'm not like I used to be. I wish I was. But I'm excited about this one. I will watch.
How could he not be?
Yeah, I will watch this closely. So I'm going to pick the Dodgers because I'm a National League guy.
First time they've played in the World Series since 1981.
How about
that?
1981. Wow.
Major League Baseball dream right there.
Is that year Reggie?
I'm not sure.
Reggie at 3 in one game.
That's got to be right.
Had to be 81. Yeah, somewhere about.
Very good stuff, and we will get you out on our musical note of the day because on this date, back in 1966, the Beach Boys, Good Vibrations, makes its debut on the U.S. singles chart. I'm dedicating this one to my dad today. He is in the hospital. He loves the Beach Boys. Love you, Dad. Hope you get to feeling better soon. And I hope everybody has good vibrations for the rest of their evening.
Prayers for Steve Carlyon. He's one of the all-time good guys. I can tell you that definitively. This is the a band that had hit after hit after hit after hit after hit in the 60s. This is the anthem. By the way, one of the great bands of all time. It's not cool to say they're great because they weren't rocking hard. It's one of the great bands of the rock era of all time.
Without a doubt.
Well done. Very nice job with headlines. Back in a moment to wrap the show. Stay with us.
The Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
This is Brent Musburger's Action Update, brought to you by Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, here are the latest lines from my guys in the desert.
As the NBA season begins this week, the Celtics, the defending NBA champs, are the favorites to repeat. Boston at plus 290 to hoist the Larry O'Brien Trophy. The Oklahoma City Thunder, second betting favorite at plus 675. The New York Knicks, who recently acquired Karl Anthony Towns, are plus 700. The Philadelphia 76ers are plus 825. The Dallas Mavericks, the defending Western Conference champions, are plus 1,000. The Denver Nuggets, who won the NBA championship in 2023, are also plus 1,000. And Dallas superstar Luka Doncic is the betting favorite to win this year's MVP. Doncic is at plus 375. This update brought to you by Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning, a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm Tony Desiri with your VSiN Action Update on 1010 XL.
This election, if you want someone who will take care of the messes, someone who isn't afraid to get dirty and work in the trenches, someone who will pump out the problems and prevent future ones, vote for the Duck.
Need your septic tank serviced? Call Duck Rooter, your 5-star Google-rated septic company. Visit duckduckrooter.com.
I approve this message.
When you're stuck, call the Duck. duckrooter.com.
Frank Frangie here. It's truck season at Nimnick Chevrolet. Chevy trucks have what you need to get things done, like a brand new Silverado 1500. This month, you can save up to $10,000 off a new Silverado. For well-qualified buyers, get rates as low as 0% financing and no payments for 90 days on all 2024 Silverado 1500 pickup. Now, with the largest inventory on the ground, outstanding cash incentives, and the best price guarantee, your perfect truck is waiting for you. So head to Nimnick today. Nimnick Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
This is Hays Carlyon from my friend Holt at Harold & Harold. There doesn't seem to be enough time in the day to get everything done. Then you get injured in an accident and you don't know what you're going to do. Let Harold & Harold make it easy for you. Easy on becoming a client. You can just text or email if you want. Easy on finding a doctor and getting through the process. Hopefully you won't need them, but if you're ever injured, call Harold & Harold and make it easy on yourself. Call them at 904-251-1111. That's 251-1111.
Hi, I'm Frank Frangie, and I've depended on South State for my banking needs as long as they've been serving Duval. Whether you're saving for retirement, purchasing a home, starting a business, your goals are their commitment. With forward-thinking, personalized banking solutions and best-in-class service, South State is ready to help you navigate your financial journey. Connect at southstatebank.com or drop by any of the 5 local South State offices. South State Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Think you can't afford to buy a home? Think again. Lennar offers a range of new homes at affordable prices with a simple and hassle-free buying experience. Every home comes with our Everything's Included package, which means you get premium features and upgrades at no extra cost. For a limited time, enjoy rates as low as 3.99% and no closing costs on select homes when you finance through Lennar Mortgage. Call us at 904-917-2372 to find your dream home today. Lennar, the home for you.
Go inside the huddle with our QB, David Garrard.
Hey, I know if you give me time, baby, we can do whatever we want.
And get into the head of an NFL signal caller. Mondays from 10 to noon on Jaguars Today. Brought to you by WaterboyJax.com on 1010XL.
Hacker here. And guys, the countdown is over. I didn't just hit the 100-pound mark. I blew past it thanks to Awaken 180 weight loss. 107 pounds gone just like that. More weight than a quarter keg of beer. Speaking of beer, here's where it gets fun. We're throwing a big celebration at Mr. Chubby's Wings in Ponte Vedra Beach. Yeah, you heard that right. A weight loss party at Mr. Chubby's. The irony's juicier than their wings, but here's the thing. I can celebrate at Mr. Chubby's and still keep the pounds off. If you didn't know, yes, wings are still on the menu while losing weight with Awaken 180 weight loss. Join me in 1010XL on November 9th for the Florida and Texas game, and you could win a spot at my table. Food is included. There'll be ticket giveaways and more for the celebration. If I can shed a whole Mr. Chubby and still throw a party at one, what's holding you back? Call Awaken 180, 844-346-1800, or hit up Awaken180weightloss.com and let's get it done.
When pests invade your space, you don't just need them out, you need them out fast. And you need to keep them out. At Terminix, we show up for you and eliminate pests quicker. Because we care about what matters most to you. When pests show up, so do we. Don't live with a pest problem. Terminix it. Visit Terminix.com today to schedule a free inspection online. That's TERMINIX.com. TERMINIX.com. Terminix it.
Rick Ballou for Carlson Dental. You know, I've been telling you this for quite some time because it's true. I hate going to the dentist, or at least I used to hate going to the dentist. I had total anxiety, and then I tried sedation. Light sedation for cleaning and deep sedation as well for cavities and root canals. Folks, it's an incredible experience. So don't be nervous. Don't be scared. Go to CarlsonDentalGroup.com. That's CarlsonDentalGroup.com for all of your dental needs.
What defines a hero? Dedication, loyalty, courage. Every day at AMCO, we serve heroes. For over 60 years, we've repaired and maintained the most critical public service vehicles. From complex transmissions to simple brake jobs with flexible financing and the extra safety precautions we need. The heroes we serve don't all wear uniforms. They're people like you. At AMCO, we're proud to serve all of you. AA MCO.
Money tight? We can finance almost anybody. Find the AMCO transmissions nearest you at AMCOJacksonville.com.
Firefighters, paramedics, police officers, they take care of us, and at AMCO, we're proud to take care of them. For over 60 years, we've repaired and maintained the most critical public service vehicles. As an essential business, we work on every kind of car repair with flexible financing and extra safety precautions. Essential, reliable, trusted. That's the men and women who are there for us, and it's our honor to be there for them. AA MCO.
Family owned and operated in Jacksonville, Orange Park, St. Augustine, and St. Mary's, Georgia. AMCO Transmissions and Total Car Care.
This is Dr. James Perry, Assistant Team Physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jaguars, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
The Jaguars' rapidly improving rushing game helped big time in Sunday's win over the Patriots. Second-year running back Tank Bigsby has already made quite the name for himself after another impressive performance. Bigsby ran the ball 26 times for 118 yards and 2 touchdowns. Here's Bigsby on how this win will affect the team.
It do a lot. We work hard this week. After we lost the first game down, we did a lot of work this week and leaned on each other and said we got to go out and have fun. And I feel like we got back to having fun. Offense offense started picking it up, and I felt like defense fed off the energy. And then we felt the energy, and it just kept going. So that's the contagious thing about this game. We just got to keep doing it.
Keep an eye on the Jaguars' rushing attack as the season progresses. I'm Max Fink with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars update.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Now the cool down with Donovan Air, Electric and Plumbing. Keeping Jack's cool since 87.
All right, where have we been today on the program? We talked a lot of Jaguar football. The Jaguars found a way to get a good win. They've got a tough 5 games coming up. But some of the young guys are starting to step up. I think that was kind of my take. The young stars, Trevor, Trayvon, so many others, watching the young stars emerge, I think is something that that jumped off the page. What happens now? Those tough 5 games are coming up. Matt Hays about to talk NFL or SEC football. We unveiled something, or certainly unearthed it, I guess, that Texas, although regarded one of the best teams in the country, really hasn't played much of a schedule. So that's going to be very interesting. Give Georgia credit. Georgia hammered them. Welcome to the SEC, Texas. And they really laid it to them in that game. We talked about that. We talked some Gator football. Hayes and I did about the fact that, hey, say what you want about them. That was a good win, and they buried a team, and they haven't done that in a long, long time. Hayes did a great job of headlines. He's always talking about the baseball coming up as well as other stuff, and that is the cool down for today.
Do you think with Napier, because you just never see this, but it's a different climate now in college, do you think Florida could go to him and say, Billy, we're not going to fire you, but we want you to take a $2 million salary reduction that we'll commit to NIL?
No, I don't think they'll do that. I think you'll find more money because that would be the akin to a demotion. Nobody demotes anybody. So I don't think you're going to change his money. You may change the raises he gets or so, but although most of that stuff is contractual now anyway. I don't think that. I think here's how it's different, Hayes. In college football 30 years ago, maybe even 20 most places, but 30 years ago for sure, this would be his third of 5 guaranteed years. We need you to come in here and rebuild. Now, if in 4 or 5 years it's not rebuilt, then it looks like you're not the guy. But he would be right on schedule. He took over a program that apparently had a lot of internal stuff that people don't know about. I mean, I've heard some of it. I know you have too. He changed the culture. He's not a great game day coach, so he's learning on the fly. I watched Charlie Pell go through that. I watched other coaches. So he's becoming a better coach and learning to coach better. And the team, in the meantime, is getting better. And slowly but surely, he's building the roster. And that's what happened. In this day and age, in the day of social media, believe me, in social media, I promise you, more than ever, if the haters are going to be out there. Every coach has haters, okay? Every presidential candidate has haters. Every mayor has haters. Every governmental, trust me, every play-by-play guy's got haters. You know, I mean, if people know who you are and know what you do, you're going to have people that can't wait to go on social media and say, I don't like you. Well, the coaches, no matter how many of us in the world in front-facing positions face some of that, nobody faces it like athletic coaches. Nobody, except presidential candidates. But nobody faces it like college coaches and pro coaches. So it gets so loud when you're doing badly. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So when you're doing badly, so I think that's what's happened. So no, I don't think they're going to cut his pay. But I do sense there's a little bit of, you said it either on the air or during the break, or both, that if he can get Lagway right, Lagway is such a hero to the program. The kind of hero they haven't had since they signed Tebow, that if you're the coach that brought him in, and if you're the coach that helps develop him, or if you're just standing on the sidelines when he starts to take off, the hate is going to start to dissipate. There'll always be some, but the hate will dissipate some.
Well, that's the thing. Like, if DJ Lagway next year is a top 5 player in college football, which that's a bold statement, but it's not, I don't think you can dismiss it based on what we've seen so far. But if he is going to be and maybe top 5, forget that, but he's going to be one of the better college football players in the country, can't that mask an average coach? Haven't we seen that?
Yes.
Littered throughout the history of college football, that if you've got an elite quarterback, it covers a lot of coaching sins.
Coach O.
Yeah. Well,
he won a national title.
That's a great example. That's maybe the best. That was one of the best teams in college football history.
Best offense.
Yeah. I mean, in fact, I'll bet you if you talked about the best teams in college football history, let's say for the sake of the conversation, the 01 Canes are first. I'll bet the 19, whatever it was, 19, whatever year it was, LSU team is right there. You know, I mean, it is really good. So, yeah, you can. And so we'll see. Listen, it's been so negative and so gross and so ugly. Just having something to feel positive about, even if it's Kentucky. You know, they haven't had something to feel that way about in a long time. So at least they had something. I'll just say hello to Rick Ballou.
Now, the 2-minute drill, brought to you by Injury Care Centers. Discover BioTarget Regenerative Therapy, a safer drug-free solution for lasting pain relief. Visit GoBioTarget.com.
I tell this story every time I come back from London. The first time you and I got in that tube years ago and saw Baker Street.
Oh, yeah.
And just broke into song. Blue and I did. Do you remember that? Blue and I both saw Baker Street. We just broke into song. We just broke into the whole song.
Yep.
We're old enough to appreciate Jerry Rafferty. And so every time I see Baker Street and tweet it, because I'm a child, so I do it every year, I think of you. I do it in your honor.
Was that also the time that because you're old, you had to go to the bathroom and you couldn't make your way in because you needed a coin in order to get into the restroom over in London?
I remember that.
Yeah.
It might have been.
I absolutely remember that.
Yeah, you had to. Yeah, that's right.
You had to pay to use the bathroom?
I had to
That's
pee.
a European thing.
In the tube.
Old guys got to pee a lot, and I needed a coin. That's exactly right. So
good trip out there?
It was a good trip, Rick. It was a long trip, but it was a good trip, and good to be back. But and good to have the Jaguars get a win, right?
Yeah, much needed win, and that's where we are now, and that's going to be kind of what I am looking at tonight. The realistic opportunity here for Jacksonville. And what they have going for them is under Doug Peterson, they have put together win streaks.
Yeah.
Can you do that now against an incredibly difficult part of your schedule? I would think that would be crazy to say, they're going to, whip off 3, 4, 5 in a row. But can you split them? Yeah. And then where those last 6 games become very doable, very winnable. If you can somehow get to 4 wins, those last 6 games, I had them 10-7. I know JJ had him at 10-7. I don't know what you guys had.
11-6.
It's not. It feels crazy right now, but it's not if you can navigate your way through these 4 tough opponents in the NFC.
You're right. I told Hays this earlier. There's 11 teams in the NFL now. Of the 32, there's 11 that have 2 losses or fewer.
Yeah. The
Jags play 5 of them in a row.
I know.
I'm counting the Texans, too.
I know.
So they play 5 in a row that have 2 losses or fewer as we sit here. So, but we'll see. I thought they showed some promise. I thought a lot of young players emerged. I think that was a storyline for me. Rick. Tank Bigsby and Parker Washington and Brian Thomas Jr., of course, and Ventrell Miller, young players starting to step up a little. I thought that was kind of the storyline for me this week. So we'll see. What's coming up tonight?
We got that, and then also I want to take a look at the defense because they made some in-game, pregame and in-game changes, the way they used Eric Armstead, the way they used Darnell Savage and Jerry Jones. What happens when Foye comes back? Are you going to take Ventrell Miller off the field? Are you going to keep Devin Lloyd in coverage? So just going to kind of explore the defensive side, and because JJ and I were really hammering it last week, move Savage to safety, and they did.
Yeah, they did.
And it worked. So what other moves could they possibly make? We're going to get into that as well.
All right, comes up tonight. Rick Ballou goes into the night. That happens right now. Folks, that'll do it for our program. Good to be back in stateside, as it were. Good to be back here talking college and pro football. Tomorrow, same bat time, same bat channel. For Hays and JJ, I'm Frank Frangie. So long.